Hey everybody, Chief here, and today I'm just going to pick up where I left off with the day one hack with ember.js. I wasn't really feeling very well yesterday, so I got frustrated pretty easily when the basic first step npm install didn't run. Um, there is a fix coming if you're so just FYI if you're using Mac um, and you're also on Node latest, which is version 4, there's an issue with install. There's a fix coming sometime in the next few days. Um, until then, I used, there's two different things that I was going to do to kind of get around that. The first was I was going to use Vagrant and create a virtual machine and just do like a Ubuntu OS. But that's kind of overkill. And so I used NVM to install the Ember CLI. So I used MVM to uh, install version 0.12 of Node, and at this point we should be able to run new commands for scaffolding out a new Ember application. So just going to jump right back into it, and okay. So as you can see, I have this program called NVM, which to install is pretty simple. You just use a this script right here. I'm using Z shell. If you're using Bash or something else, you just replace ZSH with the word Bash. Um, and so NVM, you can just say NVM install version 0.12, and it will install the latest of that major version, which happens to be 0.12.7 right now. And then I said NVM use version 0.12. And if you type NVM current, you'll see that we have version 0.12 and 0.7. So NVM manages the versions of Node that you have installed. I could say NVM install v4. And you can see I've got version 4.1.1 alongside version 0.12 NVM current. And now I'm going to say NVM use version 0.12. So I did install Ember CLI globally. Okay. There's our package.json. Okay, so what we want to do is back to our Ember startup. Here we have Ember new my apps. We'll just say Ember new candy collector. Ember new candy collector. And so you can see when it does all this create stuff, it is scaffolding the app for you. It's installing some tools. JS hint is a linter. So that's when you see JS hint RC, that's a configuration for your linter. Ember CLI is probably, my guess, a type definition for your specific Ember project. So my guess is that with the Ember CLI, you can add routes and things like that, and it'll auto-generate code for you. Watchman config. Watchman is a watching service. It looks for changes in your files, and it restarts things, or it does. It binds events to changes. Ember in one of the home pages mentioned that it restarts the server for you automatically when things change. So I'm guessing Watchman is the agent for that. There is a Bower configuration. Bower is a front-end package manager. So Bower you tend to use when you're doing front-end, and by front-end I mean web. So specifically not HTML and CSS native, but HTML and CSS that's meant for clients to be accessed over HTTP. So Chrome, Internet Explorer, Safari, Opera, etc. And then it has tests, and I don't see anything specific for testing. I think Ember has its own testing system. So let's just see what we got here. So candy collector. Well, there you go. What I'm going to do here is just add a engines block, my package.json, just so everybody knows. Node. Okay. And we finished updating over here. So let's see what we got here again. Okay, so it uses testum for testing. So I'm just going to do a git. See if it did anything with the git ignore. So I'll push this in case anyone wants to follow along. All you should have to do is do npm install once you check out that branch. Okay, so what we were going to build is a candy collector. So just to review, it's a Halloween app. So we'll probably want to target a tablet or a mobile phone. So we want to make sure it can do a responsive design there. We are going to probably use the location API, and what it'll do is give you a Earth view or a Google Maps view of where you are in your neighborhood, and you will be able to create a new course that you're going to take when you're walking around your trick-or-treating. So a new trick-or-treating route, and mark houses on it. The other thing that we wanted to do is be real time. So we wanted to receive updates from the data behind it. So it's useful during Halloween night. So as you're walking around, when you hit a house, you can rate the house, give it a thumbs up or a thumbs down, a like or a dislike, so people know where to go and who to avoid. Okay, so let's see. I think this would start with, what's the first thing I would do is look at the home page. And after running this new getting started, you're supposed to launch the Ember server. So we'll say Ember server. No build found. Oh, okay. CD collector. And you're supposed to run Ember server from within this directory. Okay, so let's take a look at localhost 4200. Welcome to Ember. Nice. Okay, so next steps, probably just want to tinker around, modify this homepage. So kind of want to get my hands dirty a little bit and just see what Ember can do. So I'm just following kind of the getting started guide right now from their homepage. So they talk about templates, components, controllers, models, routes. So let's see what we got. import ember from ember, resolve initializers, or config environment var model factory. Okay. So this is very MVC pattern. Like you'll see controllers, helpers. The most experience I've had with MVC pattern in this traditional way was actually with Zen Framework back in my PHP days. And this is very similar to the structure that you're used to seeing with that. Let me do this real quick. Okay, let's take a look at router. So I'm going to start with a component. So after looking at this home page here, let's check out what we can do with components. Let's say app, templates, index. So handlebar, it uses handlebars to render. Whoops. Okay, well, in true hacker happy hour fashion, I ordered a pizza. So, 1 second. Stay shadow. inside, bud. Thank you. Okay, and we're back. So a template is, it looks like what you would call a partial in some MVC libraries. It's just a string of HTML with handlebars, variables, expressions inside of that template. And then a component is another sort of template, only a component is a composable block, if you will. So you could use components inside of templates. You would not use templates inside of components. So if you're writing a component, at least that's what makes sense to me. So in this case, we don't actually need a component. A component would be something where you're probably going to use it multiple times across different views in different sections, different models. It's more of an abstract piece, whereas a template is going to be a little bit more defined. So actually what we're probably looking for right off the bat here is template. You'll notice from 6 that we have content for head, and that is probably looking for a template. App. Outlet. Already you're kind of seeing why I'm not a huge fan of the monolithic MVC model. they can sometimes give you some headway down the road once you're experienced with the MVC framework itself, the specific framework. But in the meantime, I don't know what files I'm looking for. I don't know where this outlet is being passed into this template from. Is it from the router? Is it from the controller? There aren't any controllers. Aren't any helpers. And even the getting started guide doesn't really have content for. Of course. So what I'm left to believe is that content for body footer are left to be passed in. I'm also left to believe that this outlet is left to be passed in. And I don't really know from where as of yet. So one of the watchers just made a good point. This code is available on Git under the Candy Collector. I am going to add this link to the showcase of the broadcast. Okay, so now if you look in the showcase of the broadcast. There should be a link. That's the second item. It's the link to this repo so you can follow along if you're having any connection issues, and even ping in. Also, for anyone watching, I have a thing called Cameraman. So if you'd like to actually speak up and ask questions, you're able to do that. Okay, just playing around with the Hangout a little bit. So the part that's confusing me right now is that there should be a controller, and my viewer pinged in and said, just knowing from the MVC pattern, it would be controller, and that's what I was going off of too. But the looking in the Ember version, we'll be able to explore here a little bit. That's weird. So we've got the app folder is where everything's at, and then if we look at controllers, there's nothing there. Which is a little weird. And it's the same thing for models. There's no models yet either. So let's see, candy collector. I should really just CD into this directory. So you know what? I'm gonna you. So there's nothing there. There is no like it's in here. It shows there's nothing in there. No index file. I wonder if I make a change. Hmm. Now we're rolling. Let's see what that gives us. Hmm. What the heck? It automatically created this as a Git directory. So here again, we're messing around with a scaffold, a framework. Like we're not even into writing code yet. Um, and in JavaScript world, you just usually don't have that problem. I mean, you get to jump in and just boom, start writing code right away. This is very reminiscent of PHP, of Ruby, of Java, where you're messing around with setup just to get stuff to work. This is just frustrating. fine. What I'm looking for here is just something that would explain why this is appearing like a submodule here in Git. And there's usually like a Git modules or something like that. So if I save him, modules, nothing. I don't even know what to do from here. I've never seen this before. There's no Git files. Nothing. Okay, so there is a submodule mapping right here. It's the 1600 entry mode. So there we go. Wow. Unfortunately, and now I see why this is doing this. It's adding all the Bower stuff basically. And if I were just to add like a Bower ignore to a master git ignore, then you would have to run like Bower install and all kinds of stuff on the CLI, and the app wouldn't work. Now the problem is that this stuff may not install correctly because it's intended to be specific to the host that you installed it to. Bower and other package managers like Node, npm do some sim linking and some other things on the system that's based on your architecture and your host OS. So I've kind of got a new problem here now where I can't just add these things to Git and expect that everyone will be able to download them and run them. So a lot of these are like, you'll see JS hint and stuff like that. Those operate on your dev environment, your operating system. They are not client-side dependencies that just depend on needing a browser to run. So kind of stuck here. I am going to do some Googling. Ember CLI creates Git submodule. So I am going to push this. First, I'm going to Well, that removed all of my stuff. Awesome. Damn. So here again, Ember, fail, hard, just like yesterday. This is getting really, really frustrating. So at this point, if I wasn't being forced to kind of embrace Ember, I would have walked away. I feel like I've wasted 3 hours of my weekend just trying to do a simple hello world to this Ember thing, and it's just so aggravating. I can't even explain it. This is just, I mean, maybe this is what, if you're used to developing with some other tool or programming language like Java and um, anything with a, that uses MVC frameworks quite a bit. So Java, .NET, like 3.5, 4, 4.5. There is some of this involved. There's a really sharp learning curve in the first week where you got to learn a lot about the framework and the tools before you can even start coding. But one of the beautiful things about JavaScript and the JavaScript ecosystem is that's not JavaScript. You usually just run npm install and then away you go. You can start coding and start tinkering, and that's how you can learn. It has really helped hackers, the people with the exploration, the do-it-yourself, learn-it-yourself type of movement or type of person. It's really enabled them to go places with JavaScript, and it feels like Ember is just squashing that. I'm going to try to keep plugging here for a little bit, but no promises. So here you see delete mode 1600. So 1600 is a submodule entry mode. So everything it's doing in here is a submodule, which makes it really hard to collaborate via Git, because it expects a different repo for this stuff. But I'm going to try anyway. We'll say ember new. Make sure I'm in the right directory. Ember new. Error parsing JSON. That's interesting. So what you can see here, if you were up at my top directory, so for example, that is weird. I swear that there was a package.json file in here. And there was. So I have my own package.json file specified, and it removed it. And you notice when I jumped into branches there, my get status thing, it changed. So this is a Git repository. It's basically trying to do everything for me. So the fact that I'm kind of doing things, what I should really do is start all over. Go to code, my home directory, and I'm going to entirely wipe this. So this Ember CLI is really meant to be run globally. Obviously, it's very heavy-handed. New Ember, new, say, Ember Candy Collector. So if this is doing things correctly, it's creating a folder called Ember Candy Collector. And then under that, it's installing a package.json file and a app folder and all of these other files that you see. These, I don't believe these are actually getting created inside my code directory. I hope I'm right. And what I'm going to do is just force overwrite the Candy Collector main directory from GitHub. Or maybe I'll add it as a sub module. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. It's actually been a long time since I've done submodules, so actually I think I need to do git submodule add. Need to move. Let's see what that looks like on GitHub. So this is a GitHub thing. GitHub wants in order to view it, it wants another repo. It's like Ember's forcing me to have each. I can't. Yeah, each app is its own repository, and it can't be used with another app. So part of this is just me trying to, have two projects in the same thing for ease of use for users to kind of look and compare. It's just not happening. I would need to have Ember Candy Collector and the POJS Candy Collector. No matter what I do, I'm going to have that. So I will have to create another GitHub repo. So Candy Collector is basically would just then be a coordinator between two other repos. I don't really like this. at all, but okay, so where were we? Oh yeah, now back to the actual work. App controllers. So there's nothing there. You'll see that models is empty. Um, there is no routes. There are no routes. And there are no components under templates or just straight up components. So what we have so far um, is just enough to give us that hello world. So it's serving this up on localhost 4200. And there we go. So again, where we were at before, let's cd public real quick. Just wanted to make sure. You got to be kidding me. Look at this. This is a commit. So it overhauled even the git config of this app. Oh, that's not even an environment. It's like it literally changed my local git configs. This is just too unreal. I don't even know how it did it. It's uh well, if you ever wonder why, I bet Tomster's whoever this guy is, can't even click on it. So I am so like frustrated and stumped now. I'm just having a hard time thinking of what to do next, where we were. Um, what's our runtime here? I don't want to just end things, but I'm gonna probably break off this episode here. I'm gonna take a break and decide if I really want to continue hacking on Ember today. And the answer is probably not. I got better things to do, but now I feel like we're finally ready to go. It's hard to stop. So there definitely will be, this is episode 1.5. There will be an episode 1.5.5. And I guess just look for episodes 1.5.5.5.5 in the future, or episodes 1.5 to the sixth power sometime in the future, because apparently that's just kind of part of the nature of working with Ember. Have a good day, and keep keep your beers handy.